Good afternoon, this is Bob Iaccino coming to you from the CME Group trading floor in Chicago. Talking equity futures, let's look at the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ led the three major indices today, NASDAQ 100 as well as the NASDAQ Composite. And all three closed at record highs, reached obviously new intraday record highs, but the NASDAQ really led, ending up right around 0.75%, give or take, with the S&P and the Dow lagging. Now, we had non-farm payrolls come out this morning. It's one of my favorite days to talk about because you get so much data from these non-farm payrolls numbers, and the headline number missed substantially. Now that surprised the market a little bit because the ADP number that is normally released on Wednesday was pushed to Thursday because of the holiday, came out with a big headline beat. But if you look at the correlation between the ADP and the non-farm payrolls number, similar in trend but not similar in terms of beats versus misses in the actual number versus expectation. So it's not surprising that the headline number missed. What was interesting about this number is when you kind of dialed it back, on balance, this number was very good for stocks. We had a slight increase in the month-over-month wage number, but a flat year-over-year wage number, still remaining at this level right around 2% that isn't scaring the Fed at all. We also saw an interesting twist that applies more to the NASDAQ than anything. We saw a decline in retail jobs of 20,000 in what is supposed to be, remember this is the December number, supposed to be the strongest season for retails. The number is seasonally adjusted, so those retail hires that are temp hires are kind of weeded out by the seasonal adjustment, but clearly the seasonal adjustment needs to be adjusted because the number shouldn't come in at a negative, and it did, minus 20,000 jobs in retail. But, and this goes directly to the NASDAQ, courier jobs, distribution of products, increased by 19,000. That is obviously a direct effect of what we call the Amazon effect or online shopping in general. Courier jobs increased, bricks and mortar retail jobs fell. Overall, the jobs number was led by healthcare, but again, the most important part of it was 4.1% on the unemployment rate didn't move. Labor participation rate didn't move. That's a reflection of potentially tech jobs or higher skilled jobs that are not being filled. And you saw a slight increase in month-over-month wages. Also, aggregate wages are on a slow uptick to the high side, but again, nothing has bled into inflation yet. This again reflects on the NASDAQ more than anything. Now, what's interesting with the close higher today is the January effect is something we've seen in the markets over the last 10 to 20 years, where how January finishes, the overall market tends to finish. Now, that doesn't give you any insight into what percentage gain or loss we're going to get for the year, but if January finishes higher, then the equity markets tend to finish higher in terms of change over the last month. Now, here's the interesting part. What's little known is that non-farm payrolls day has its own effect. If equities finish higher on a non-farm payrolls day, they have a higher probability of finishing the month higher, or very high probability. You just look at 2017, the way the non-farm payrolls day finished was the way the month finished 10 times out of 12. Now you might say it's easy to look at a year like January or like 2017, which was up 20% in the equities, but even in August, when August's non-farm payrolls day ended down, the month of August ended down. That was only one of two down months for 2017. So the non-farm payroll effect really has a huge effect on the year in the month of January because of the January effect. So we might be getting some potential insight into the way 2018 is going to finish with the higher settlement price that we saw today. Again, it's not 100%, but the probabilities are pretty high. This is Bob Iaccino talking equity market futures, specifically the NASDAQ, from the CME Group trading floor in Chicago.